up your engine!
Well, here we go with Subaru and problems. There's now a second class action lawsuit against unintended acceleration that they just take off by themselves. Now, it's for Outback, Legacy, and Subaru Forester. Those are the ones that are in the class action suit. The first class action suit was in New Jersey. This particular one is in California. So if you own one of these Subarus, you're in California, you might want to join in the suit. It covers the 2012 to 2018 Subaru Outback, the Subaru Forester Compact SUV, the 2015 to 19 Subaru Wagon, and the 2015 to 19 Subaru Legacy. Now they're blaming this all on a computer software flaw. It just unintendedly accelerates and it won't decelerate. And as usual, the Subaru executives are saying, well, we believe that the drivers are mistakenly stepping on the accelerator instead of the brake pedal. They tried that same crap years ago with Audis when they had that, and they had to settle a suit later on for that. I had a customer with one of those Audis, and it just took off, went across the street, and ran into somebody's house. So, and they said the same thing. Oh, the people are just driving them wrong. Now, if you ever have a problem with this Subaru or any car you have, you can always file a complaint with the National Highway Traffic Safety Association. They got a number, or go to their National Highway Traffic Safety Association website. You can file complaints there. The more people complain, the better the odds are, one, you'll win on a class action suit, and two, that they'll end up recalling the things and have to reprogram the law. Of course, the manufacturers want to fight that tooth and nail because then they're losing money. They got to tell people, they got to bring their cars in, they got to get them reprogrammed. It makes them look bad that there's yet another recall. So they fight it tooth and nail, but I mean, there's got to be a problem. There's a whole bunch of people that have problems with these things just suddenly accelerating. And odds are it probably is a software problem, and they're just not owning up to it yet. But if you complain and join these suits, often you'll either get money back or they will have to reprogram the things free. And if you have it in writing that you complained and that you joined a class action suit, if something does happen to you, there's more fuel for the fire if you have to sue them. Hardy888 says, I got a Honda Civic, 2007, 120,000 miles. Makes chirping noise when the car's moving. I think a bad wheel bearing. Short of cash. Is it vital? Can I drive it if it doesn't shake or anything? All right. I have a customer who had a Honda Civic, a lot older one than that, and his wheel bearings are going, and he drove it 5 years that way. If you jack up the car, you pull on the wheel, and it doesn't go clunka, 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 clunka. It's not that badly worn. It's a light car, and you can often drive it a really long time when it's starting to make noise. But what you want to do is, every once in a while, jack up that tire and pull on it. And if it starts going clunka, clunka, and then you hold it like this at 12 and 6 and clunka, clunka, the wheel bearing's actually really wearing, and then it's time to change it. But like I said, I got a customer, had one of those Civics. He drove it 5 years that way, and he sold it. I could hear him coming down the road, blocks down the street when he brought it, and he still drove it, and it worked okay. Well, remember what I said the other day about the battery day and Tesla talking about all his new batteries and cars and stuff? Well, Tesla's getting something that they don't want, a shock. Something you don't want in an electric company. They're getting a shock from their battery day. The shares are down 5.1%, which is about $20 billion in value. Everything as usual were future promises. He promises to deliver a sub $25,000 mass market model within 3 years. Oh, yeah? Hey, I guess he listened to old Scotty here. I said, Volkswagen's going to eat his lunch if they start selling cheaper electric cars. His are so expensive. Now he says, well, he's going to make one too. He's having problems making expensive ones. You go even cheaper. From my experience in the world, when a company starts to make cheaper cars, that's exactly what they are. Cheaper piles of junk. Look at Ford when they started to make that Ford Fiesta. What a rolling pile of junk that car was. Some people bought them, but then they got a bad taste and never bought another Ford after that. You can't go from making moderate expensive electric cars that have had their share of problems to making really cheap ones. It's all promises. Musk didn't talk about what's more important. The Wall Street boys are saying, hey, he omitted a lot of stuff and he has hazy delivery deadlines. Well, you can see old Elon, just like I said, can't promise like he used to, because look at Nikola, the competitor. Their CEO started a Nikola company. He had to quit because they lied and cheated and said they were going to do stuff that they didn't do, and their stock went from like $90, now it's like $30. It'll probably continue to drop too. This fantasy up in the air stuff, they're all finding out. You can't keep promising stuff and then later it doesn't come to fruition. Just like politicians. These guys are in the business world, and if, 2 years later they promise this and they didn't, guess what happens to the stock? Because stocks are kind of like voted on every day. And if people have lost confidence in a company, the stock will go, woohoo! Too bad the politicians aren't like that. I saw science fiction Doctor Who that every time there was a problem, they would vote on this planet to get rid of the leader or not. Hey, maybe we should go to that system, you know? But the stock market does it with these stocks, and these guys got to be careful now of what they promise. O&M says, Scotty, I'm 17, got my first car. I want to change the oil and work on it. Is there a brand of jack and jack stands you recommend? All right. Now, I have Harbor Freight jacks in the garage. I have a $100 one and I have a $180 one. They are both excellent jacks. They last for years and years. But I would not buy a jack stand from Harbor Freight Tools because they're the company that had the problem with them cracking. And then they put replacement ones in and those crack too. So for the jack stands, just go to Amazon and buy steel ones. The aluminum ones, they can bend. Who cares? They don't weigh that much. Get solid steel ones and get the ones that are, just two-piece. They go up and down, and either a giant pin holds them in place or they have a big ratchet that it goes up and the ratchet locks it in place. You don't want that have any kind of pumps or anything. You just want them solid steel where then they ratchet in place. Those you don't want to get at Harbor Freight Tool because they had problems. Those, get them on Amazon. Just buy a set of steel ones that are solid steel. Well, here's one that caught my eye. The Vietnamese are now making luxury SUVs. The company is called VinFast. And what they are is they have a BMW X5 platform, but they're putting a GM pushrod V8 engine in it. It's going to be called the President model. It's based on a BMW X5, but it's got a GM V8 engine in it. It's the same 420 horsepower Ecotec 3 that you find in a Silverado, Yukon, or a Tahoe. And they say the President's going to go 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds. Now, that's pretty fast for a big old SUV. Has an 8-speed automatic transmission and full-time all-wheel drive. Basically, the Vietnamese are combining a BMW frame body with a GM V8 engine. And of course, this isn't some mass-produced thing. They're only going to make 500 of them, and they're going to start at $164,000. So you might go buy an old BMW X5 yourself and throw a GM V8 in it. Costs you a lot less money than buying this thing when it does come out. But you know how the world goes. If they only make 500 of them, there are enough snobs out there that'll say, oh, I want this, and they'll go out and buy the thing. So there's always room to sell a small amount of cars. Now, it's not going to be competing with hardly anybody. They only make 500 of them. What does BMW care? What does GM care? That means nothing to them. So just the Vietnamese trying a little niche market move. A BMW X5 with the GM V8 engine, they're going to make 500 of them in Vietnam. 6LS37 says, hi, I switched from Amsol to Benzoyl Pure Platinum Full Synthetic in my 2011 Grand Sport since I'm driving less. The engine only has 11,000 miles. I changed the oil and Fram Ultra filter after 1,000 miles. In a year, the oil was black. Bob, the oil guy, said that oil gives 60% more cleaning due to the upper cylinders. I'm guessing that's the reason for the black oil. Yes. Now, oil, when I was a young mechanic, they didn't, and they'd build up sludge. So they're all what are called detergent oils. Detergent, just like detergent washing your clothes. The dirt from the clothes goes into the water. Well, the dirt from your engine goes into the oil. Now, theoretically, it shouldn't hurt anything, but if it's cleaning it off like that, it will get black. That's what's going to happen. From my own experience, that Pennzoil Pure Platinum Full Synthetic Oil has been a commercial failure because they charge too much money for it, and it's a synthetic oil, and it's a good synthetic oil. I've talked to the guys who made it. It's made from natural gas, so it's a great oil. There's nothing wrong with it. But kind of a stupid idea because it's made from natural gas. Why do you waste the energy turning natural gas to turn it into oil? Because there's tons of oil around. The reason they do it is because wherever they do it in the Middle East, they just flare off the gas. It's a waste product. They don't use it. So now they're taking that and they're making oil out of it. But they get it's inefficient process. They use a lot of the gas to compress it to make it into oil. It's kind of a stupid idea, and they charge too much money for it. Every place I look, it's like $10 a quart. You can get good synthetic oil for $5 a quart. Why would you pay twice as much? I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't buy it. And I ask my friends that run auto parts stores, and I say, do you even sell this stuff anymore? And the guy says, no, we stopped selling it. Nobody was buying it. Then I go to another place and say, do you sell it? He says, well, once in a while somebody wants it, so we got it on the back shelf here. So when a guy who likes it comes in, we'll have a couple gallons so he can use it, and we'll reorder just 2 gallons. But they say, we don't sell this stuff at all. It's overpriced, and people aren't buying it. It's a good oil. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's awful expensive, and you can get just the same thing that's just as good quality for a normal driver at a lot lower price. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, Remember to ring that bell.